Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nithin Ramachandra from the NR Media Sports Show, back with another episode. Happy Tuesday. It's a beautiful day in New Jersey here. Before I introduce our guests, fans, please tune in. We are live on iHeartRadio right now, Spotify, on all the podcast platforms, and everybody knows about the speaker app on my phone, where the fans can ask questions to all the guests that come on the show. And I'm joined by our good friend Jeremy Fishman. He does some great work with us too at the NR Media Company. He writes articles. Go check his page out. He does a great job. And he plays baseball with his high school team. Go check that out. And he covers his own team also. So go check everything what he does. Jeremy is amazing. And today's guest, we have Reggie McClain. He's a MLB pitcher. He pitched for the Yankees and also the Scranton Wilks Barre Railriders minor league team. He got experience there. He has experience in the major leagues. And he's trying to continue his major league career, but he's taking time off. He just said right now and focus to get ready for next year. But Reggie, I just want to say thank you for joining the show. It's truly an honor, and I read some of your story, man. It's amazing, and he actually pitched during the COVID year when there was no fans in the stands. So we'll get to all of that, how he pitched with no fans, and how they dealt with the COVID year. But Reggie, I just want to say thank you again for joining us. It's truly an honor, and we're looking forward to learning more about your story. And fans, like I said, please tune in, put your questions in the app, and listen in. But Reggie, how are you and your family doing? Thank you again for joining. Welcome to the show.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. So, Jeremy, you want to start off first, and then?
Yeah, I'll start. First of all, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. I want to ask about your baseball journey, where you started, when you started, and just kind of like take us through your whole life playing baseball.
So from the beginning, wow. So I grew up here in Georgia, Alpharetta, a little bit north of Atlanta. Started playing baseball when I was about 4 years old. I say the kind of turning point where I figured out where I wanted to take it serious was around probably 14 to 15, just playing travel ball, nothing too special, just like every other kid. Did Cooperstown, did all the nice tournaments, the Little League tournaments growing up. Around 14, 15 is when I started to, think about a future in baseball. My brother, he was 5 years older than me. He went to college for baseball, and that's when it started to like click in my head. Kind of just like, oh, I can if I'm good enough, I can kind of go, to a big school and, just live out that dream. So that's when I started focusing in on it. I played on some pretty competitive, youth travel ball teams growing up. We were one of the best teams in the state, if not for the the East Cobs of the Georgia, but no, they were pretty hard to compete against. But still, we competed against the top of the top when I was growing up, and that's kind of what started that kind of love, just competing, just getting to be out on the field with my guys, and we went to war every day. Even though we were 14, 15, 16, it was we treated it very serious at that age, and we did not like losing to any team or any team that we knew people on. We wanted to make sure we got that win. So that's kind of the grassroots of where it started. Just competing at a young age, playing high level, and just that kind of took me to where I got to go to college and play baseball.
Yeah, I love that. I can relate to it a lot. I'm currently a high school baseball player, so I understand the competitiveness and all of that.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
Hey, our fans love this question here. I always like to ask this to pitchers. And before being a fully committed pitcher, did you get to play any other positions? And were you thinking of being like a Shohei Ohtani type of player, like a hitter and a pitcher at the same time?
Yeah, everybody wants to be Shohei Ohtani, but there's only one person that can be Shohei Ohtani. Yep. No, but I played shortstop growing up. I think it was my sophomore year of high school.
Oh, wow.
Faced a arm. His name was Matt Grimes. He went to Georgia Tech. He was throwing like 94, 95 at the time before he went to Tech. And I think that's what pushed me out of hitting. Seeing him on the mound, I hadn't fully grown into my body yet, and I said I got to hit this in college. No, thank you. I'm gonna be on the other side. I'm gonna throw this instead of being on the receiving end. That's kind of switch. I never really could hit. I could field,
Oh,
but played shortstop. I had a good glove all throughout. Hitting was my one weak point. I was just really small, but I had good hands and good feet, so I was able to play shortstop all the way until about sophomore year of high school.
oh wow.
Um, what are some superstitions that you have while playing? I feel like every baseball player has at least a couple.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. The guys that actually know me, I take a nap before every game, and whether it's a nap or meditation, I call it meditation slash kind of visualization, but kind of lulls me to sleep sometimes. But I usually take about 30 minutes before. I always got to like visualize how my outing is going to go, and I visualize success, and just put myself in there before I even step in that spot. And then also another one is I gotta take a deuce before every game. That's just a regular one. Just dude, I gotta get those nerves out. That's probably the biggest one. If I don't do that, then I don't feel ready to go. I'm not ready to compete yet.
Love that.
All right. So can you tell our fans who are some of the pitchers that you looked up to while working on your own craft?
Some of the pitchers I grew up watching. Um, Pedro Martinez was one of my favorite pitchers growing up. Just his style, his swagger on the mound. I mean, he was unhittable for so many years. Pedro was a big one. I'm trying to think. I was a Braves fan. I grew up in the Smoltz, Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux era. So just getting to watch those guys growing up as a baseball fan was pretty insane too. So I'd say those are kind of the guys that I gravitated most of as far as watching them how to pitch. I kind of shaped my game after Greg Maddux. I never really threw too hard until I started getting into like plyo balls and the new age of baseball, velo, everything. Before then, I was a starter. And I threw 3 pitches that I could throw for strikes, and I didn't walk people. If you look at my stats in college, I think my senior year I had over 100 innings pitched and I think I had 8 or 9 walks on the year. I was dialed in zone, and that's how I like to pitch. I like to force contact early, which is what I saw out of Greg Maddux pretty much most of the time. He was a contact pitcher, but you weren't going to hit it hard.
Oh wow.
Over your career, what are some of your favorite moments? Either throughout the minors, college, MLB.
I'd say college. Definitely winning. I got 2 in college. For those that don't know, I went to Georgia out of high school. Ended up getting cut by them right after my freshman year. Ended up going junior college for 2 years, State College of Florida in Bradenton, South Florida, and then transferred to Missouri, where I got to face Georgia again. And kind of my favorite moment in college, as far as that aspect, is getting to play Georgia, and kind of like shoving it to him. I pitched a complete. Both times I faced him at Missouri, I pitched a complete game. 3 hits. One was a shutout. The other one was one run, and I think I had 12 strikeouts in both games. So it was kind of like that. Oh, this is what y'all missed out on. Like y'all didn't do your homework on me. Y'all didn't know I was a dog like this. Then another one in college, I'd say, is winning the SEC or not the SEC championship, but winning the first game for Missouri in the SEC tournament. I started that game. We faced South Carolina, who was, they're traditionally always good, and we beat them that day. I pitched 7 strong innings, and we had a closer at that time who was an All-American. He came in and shut the door, and got us our first win in school history in the SEC tournament. And I think that is still our only school win in the SEC tournament. So that's something I'm pretty proud of. Just had my stamp on the school like that. As far as major leagues, obviously making my debut was pretty incredible. Just the journey getting there. Even though I gave up back-to-back home runs in Houston, I couldn't even be mad. I was just like, how many people get to say they gave up back-to-back home runs in a Major League Baseball game? Not too many. So I always look at that as a blessing. Just be able to be in that spot. And then the next one is pitching in Atlanta in my COVID year when I was with Philadelphia. Just pitching in my home stadium, something I've always wanted to do and something I can always, hold on to and be like, damn, I really, I watched these guys, which is crazy. I would be in the right field grandstand, section 3, whatever, watching the Philly or whoever play. And just to be on the field not too long after that was pretty incredible. So it's just to be able to say that I did that, pitch in my home stadium is a pretty big deal to me.
Love it.
We do have a question here with our fan. One of our friends, his name is Julian. You should definitely check their show out. They have a show called Dugout Station with his friend Sandy. It's a baseball podcast. You definitely check that out. Well, you should definitely go on their show too. He wants to know, what are your thoughts? What was your thoughts of being in the Yankees organization for a little bit with the Scranton Wilks Barre Railriders, and what did you learn from that experience?
Well, the Yankees have an incredible setup. They got, that anybody who puts on a baseball uniform outside of maybe Boston says they want to be a Yankee. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of the pinnacle of baseball, in my opinion. It could be different for other people, but just growing up in my era, watching the Jeters, that whole era of baseball, just everything that they do is pretty much first class. They treat you with first class, everything from the hotels to the food to the people. They only have first class people in their building. Just an incredible organization, incredibly talented players throughout the whole system in that and their system. They know what they're doing, and they want to win. And that's what I loved about them. Even if it means that, opportunities limited, especially in the major leagues with how they, handle their team, they tend to open up the checkbook and get that player, which is what I think a lot of baseball owners should be doing. But the Yankees really are forefront every year doing that. So just a great organization, great loyal fan base, a little bit crazy, but still it's what you expect when you're in New York. It's a different animal, and that's rightfully so it should be.
And just to follow up Julian's question, who were some of the players you played with at Scranton, if fans don't know?
Oh man, played with a lot of guys. Trying to think any guys up there right now. Oswaldo, Oswald, both of them. Trying to think. Nick Goody.
Oh wow.
Chris Gittens. Man. Trey Ambergy. Miguel. Say it again.
Andujar?
Yeah, Andujar. Miguel Andujar. He had no business being there in the first place. The year that I was there with him, that's a phenomenal hitter. Just a lot of guys. Everybody, that if you're in AAA with the Yankees, you're going to be with some guys that should be starting on another Major League Baseball team. That's just how it is. They have a lot of talent, top to bottom, and it's highly competitive within the own organization itself. So that just drives even more of a competition factor as far as just even within your own organization. There's going to be great players all throughout. man, I'm missing some of the pitchers. Played with Davey, Luis, um, just yeah, a lot of great players, a lot of great people too. Guys that like to compete and guys that have the stuff to be a difference on any MLB team. It was just you just knew you knew that it was different with the Yankees than anywhere else.
Well,
So you just mentioned some of your past teammates. So I was wondering, what teammate that you've played with has been the funniest?
The funniest, oh man, that's a good one. I have to go. That's a good question. I honestly have to go Derek Dietrich. I mean, he was there both years that I was in Scranton. He's definitely up there as like one of the goofiest guys I've ever played baseball with. Just his antics on the field, how he approaches the game. Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to just laugh when you see him on the field doing the stuff that he does. Oh man, I'm trying to think of something specific, but it's something like you knew Derek, you just laugh. It's like, dude, he's a goofy guy. Loves the game. Very goofy guy.
so tell our fans about your draft experience. You got drafted in 2016 by the Seattle Mariners, 13th round, pick 387th. Talk about that experience being with your family and friends and waiting for your name to be called. And once your name got called, what did that mean to you and your family?
Wow. So funny story about the draft. After my junior year, I thought I was going to get drafted, and I spent all 3 days on my computer with my family waiting to hear my name. And it didn't get called. Mind you, I'm a Friday night starter in the SEC, facing the Carson Palmers, facing the Logan Shores and the AJ Pucks and the Alex Langs. Those are the guys that I went toe to toe against in the SEC and held my own. And not to hear my name called in that year, fast forward a year after, going through my senior season at Missouri, when the draft came along, I didn't watch the draft on my phone at all because I felt so bad the year before not hearing my name. And I wanted it to be, I kind of played that year for myself, and I wanted to prove myself that I didn't need to be drafted to be validated on how I play the game. And I just remember sitting at home. I didn't have a computer up. I didn't have anything. I waited for my agent to call me. And he said, "You just got drafted in the 13th round." And at that point, my family was right there. We all hugged. We embraced that moment. I had some friends that I met up with later, and we just they all congratulated me. But just that whole year was kind of a prove it to myself year. I really stayed the course, and I wasn't gonna. If I didn't hear my agent if he didn't ever picked up the phone, I wouldn't have had that feeling of I failed. It would have been more of I did everything I could do to get drafted. It's in their hands now.
Wow.
What was your method to overcome pressure while you were on the field?
To overcome pressure is self-implied, in my opinion. The best thing you could do if I felt overwhelmed is just breathe. That's always been a thing consistent with anybody I've ever talked to. That's why I visualize and I prepare and I do that meditation beforehand. It puts me already in that moment, and how I feel when I meditate is how I want to feel when I'm out on the field. I want to feel calm. I want to feel collected. And a lot of meditation and stuff is all about breathing. It's all about breathing and controlling your breath. I think that goes very unnoticed, or a very underrated trait of how to deal with pressure is just to breathe and focus on your breath. If you could slow that down, everything else slows down subsequently because of that. That's the main thing in any situation. If I find myself getting flustered, take a deep breath, and you just feel this feeling of stillness and calmness and relaxing that just takes over. And that's the feeling that I chase after when I'm on the mound. I want to feel relaxed and in control of my own, emotions and thoughts.
That
Wow.
helps a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to take us to one game back with Scranton. You had a combined no hitter with Luis Hill and Steven Ridings. Talk about that. What was that like for you?
Man, that's another good story. A lot of people don't know this. I think we were just really focused at that time. We had a lot of good arms, like I said, had another lot of good arms in that year. Steven Ridings, and Luis pitched 6 innings. I knew I was pitching that day, so Luis pitched 6 innings, and I'm paying attention to the game, but I didn't, I don't look at the score behind me. I think I came in for the 7th and 8th inning, if I can remember correctly. Um, when I got into the game, I didn't pay attention to the hits. I didn't know we had a no hitter. And my mindset was I'm just going to do the job on the mound. So after I got done with those 2 innings, I had a good outing. I go back up to do my arm care. And as I'm in the clubhouse, I see the scoreboard as Steven Ridings is pitching, and they have no hits on the board. And I'm like, there's no way we have a no hitter right now. And we're in the last inning. So that's when it hit me in the 9th inning after my outing that we had a no hitter going. And if you watch the video after Steven's done pitching and he gets the final out, he had no idea either. He had no idea that we completed a no hitter in that game, which is kind of crazy to say, but we were focused on the task at hand, which is getting outs. Pitching, just our pitching style, just getting outs, and we were focused on our outing so much that we did not know we fell into a no hitter by doing that, which is funny to say.
That's crazy. Wow.
So as a pitcher, you kind of have a lot of downtime during games, a lot of time in the bullpen, a lot of time in the dugout. What is one way you kind of kept yourself occupied while the game's going on? If you knew you were in pitching one day or you're done in your outing?
I especially being the bullpen, you have a lot of downtime. I say before the game, I'm a big card player. Even like with my family, we will play cards in the clubhouse just to kill time. As far as out on the field, it's really just taking it a little bit at a time. It's about as I put it, you have about, as a bullpen pitcher, about 3 innings on most days of just like kind of downtime. And, within that hour, you can, you're just sitting down. You could talk, you could chalk it up with your teammates, whatever. But, kind of after that 3rd, 4th inning, if you're going to pitch that day, it kind of locks in. That's when you got to start locking in, getting ready for your outing. So it might look like we have a ton of downtime, but as far as like the mental preparation that it takes, the physical preparation, getting your body ready to throw in a professional baseball game. After about that 3rd inning, it's kind of just locking in time, and your name could be called, especially if that pitch count's getting high. Your name could be called as soon as that phone rings, and you just want to be prepared when that phone rings. So the downtime was kind of more in the clubhouse. On the field, it's kind of less than what you think. Unless you absolutely know that you're not pitching, then you can kind of check out a little bit in a certain way if you're not pitching, where you don't have to get prepared. But even so, you just getting prepared is takes it's a whole process in itself, just getting ready to pitch a professional game.
We have another fan questions on the app here. One of our fans wants to know, what was it like not having a beard when you were at the Yankees?
As you can tell, I'm enjoying my beard right now. I'm enjoying growing facial hair back. It's the Yankee way, and I'm not gonna argue with history. So it is what it is. I had little dreads before they signed me, and I had to cut those off as well. it's just the Yankee way. The same thing with Miguel Castro. He had a whole beard and a whole set of dreads that he had to cut off for the 1 year he was here. So it's it's there's no, I didn't feel any sort of way about it. I just knew that if I wanted to play for the Yankees, I had to do it. So it's as simple as that. For me, it was nothing to really shave every day. If that meant that, I stayed in good graces and I had an opportunity to play in the Bronx. Obviously, not every team does that, but the Yankees, they've been doing that. It's always been a thing. So it's just something that every baseball player knows. It's like when you get to the Yankees, say goodbye hair and facial hair.
Yep.
Throughout your career, has there been any memorable fan interactions or people that you've met that just inspired you in any way?
Yes. There have been a couple, especially with kids who, they come out to the games and they have some sort of tie to your past. Especially like just, hey, I remember seeing you when you were, I was following you ever since you got drafted out of Missouri, and they would come and see me if I played in their area. I had a couple of those, and it meant a lot because just to, as much as we don't think about it, we do have a pull on, kids, and we're role models to them. So just there's been a couple of interactions with kids just that you could tell they love the game, and you inspire them when they see you. So those kids, you just want to you want to give them the best experience possible. You don't want to be the guy that shoos them away, or have them be the reason why they hate baseball or something like that. I've had a couple where they've hit me up on Instagram or whatever, saying, and I'm even giving them out tickets. Bought their tickets to come see the game with their family, just because they reached out to me and said that I've been watching you since this time. That's happened a couple times where I've done that. So it's I miss that part of the game. Just feeling grateful for where you're at. That's definitely one of those moments.
Wow. Yeah, so speaking of, tell our fans about your delivery. You have an interesting delivery. I saw some highlights of you, and it reminds me of I don't think it's like this, but it reminds me of Michael Givens. I don't know if you know him, but talk about your delivery. It seems like you hide the ball, which is a good thing. But tell our fans, how did you come up with that delivery?
Oh man, I just hit my light.
Oh.
But with that delivery, it was pretty much, that's my normal way of throwing. As goofy as it looks, as weird as it looks, that has always been my normal throwing motion. And I played shortstop, which I told y'all, which is funny because I threw the same way at shortstop. It was something that was natural to me, and my pitching coach at the time, Jim Poole, he was an ex-major leaguer with the Indians. He came up to he would tell my dad, he's like I said, I could field a little bit when I was younger, but he pretty much told me, it was like, he's gonna be a pitcher. There's just no way around it. He's not gonna be playing shortstop forever. Like, he has the arm motion, long arm motion, and I got natural sink on my ball, which I didn't notice, and I didn't know that I threw a natural sinker until about 2018 when I was on Rapsodo. So I didn't realize that I threw a sinker just because of my long arm and motion. And it's something that I think is very unique to me, that nobody throws the way I do. There is no comp to really what I look like when I throw.
Do you have a preference on sunflower seeds or bubble gum? I feel like every baseball player does, so I was wondering.
I'm a seeds guy. Once you get that bubble gum kind of flavor out, it's just like, yeah, my jaw gets tight, and you just keep adding wads in there, and
Hmm.
yeah, I'm a seeds guy. If you find me some some ranch seeds, dill pickle, sweet and sour, yeah, I might go through 3 bags every game. They had to hide their seeds from me, honestly, but but yeah, I'm 100% a seeds guy.
Wow. We have another fan question for you. They want to know, uh, what's your favorite meal? When
Meal as a pregame or just in general?
pregame, and they want to know after.
Pregame meal. It has to be something like super light. Um, as far as I'll eat a salad, a light sandwich. I stay in that realm. Something probably healthy. Um, something definitely healthy and light before the game. I like to feel good before I get out there. After the game, it's up to the wolves, man. I'll eat anything after the game. It don't matter. I know good food, and I can tell you if it was a good spread or not. So it's anytime we did have, I do barbecue. I could eat anything barbecue. Um, love seafood, love pasta. I'm a foodie, really. So, if the post game spread wasn't up to par, I was probably taking it somewhere else to go get a meal.
So I was wondering if you would be willing to share a story that you've not shared with anybody else about your baseball career.
That's interesting. Oh man, that I haven't shared to anybody else. That's a hard one. You gotta, man. I need some time to think on this one. It's because, oh man, let me think on this question, and then if you have another question, I'll answer that and try and get back to this one because that's a hard one to say.
You mentioned that you really enjoyed pitching in Atlanta after growing up around there. Is there any other ballpark that you really felt like a surreal moment in?
Surreal moment. Definitely my debut in Houston. Just knowing that, I have that poster on my wall, even though I gave up those 2 home runs. I look at that poster every day, and it gives me motivation of the scorecard. Just seeing my name up there with, future Hall of Famers and Altuve, Correa, uh, maybe Michael Brantley, just great names across the board. Uh, you know, Yordan Alvarez. I mean, just saying that I even got to go toe to toe with those guys is, I that that day in particular, the stadium will always have that like memory in it. Another surreal moment was pitching in Camden Yards, for no particular reason other than that that stadium just is incredible, and the atmosphere that they have for baseball is incredible. And I've heard how passionate Orioles fans are, and I really got to see it firsthand with Seattle. It was a beautiful stadium, and just being in one of the old national treasures of baseball.
Wow. Yeah, we hate Houston, so that's and also thank you for I want to get to the COVID year, but thank you. There was a game when you were pitching with the Phillies, you played the Blue Jays during the COVID year. And speaking of the COVID year, can you talk about that? How did you and your teammates deal with that with no fans in the stands? It must have been tough. And some of the players love playing with fans in the stands because it gives them more motivation. But when it came to that year, talk about yourself as a player. How did you deal with that? And also talk about striking out Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
um, let's so the first part of that question, just being able to play that year was kind of it was I felt blessed to even play that year in itself because we were the only product of baseball probably in the U.S. that was playing at that time. Yeah, when I think back on it, it kind of seems like it wasn't even real. The fact that, we were in a major league stadium and we would enter squad and, and we have an MLB season coming up, and it felt just like those inter squads, except there was another team on the other side. There's nobody in these big stadiums. They had artificial noise. It felt like nobody was watching. Which was completely not true, but that was just the eerie feeling of it when you're alone in especially a baseball park. It was an odd year just in general in life. But I still feel blessed because I was able to play. I hear a lot of guys in minor leagues, they didn't get to play that whole year. And a lot of guys in college didn't get to play out their senior seasons or whatever. So I felt blessed in that aspect, but it was a struggle in season, just finding that edge when there's no crowd involved. You have no home field advantage. There's none of that. There is no, a lot of the crowd can maneuver a game so much because, they can get loud. They can do different things to affect the game. And I think that's what everybody took for granted is how much we needed the fans, to play a sport like this. Fans make everything in our sports world. And then, can you repeat the second part of that question? Striking out Vladimir?
Yeah, during the COVID with the Phillies, you struck Vladimir Guerrero, and talk about that at bat.
If I remember correctly, we were playing in Buffalo, and not because Canada wouldn't let us in there yet. So we were in Buffalo, and like I said, playing a Major League Baseball game in a AAA stadium. It just felt odd. Still competed. Vladimir's one of the, he's a top hitter in our league right now. And just be able to say, have that K under my belt. I mean, it's something when I go out on the mound, I expect to do. I always envision success. I don't envision failure. So I don't care if it was Barry Bonds in there. I probably already kind of visualized how I would strike him out or how I would get him out before I even step on the mound, so that it's not a surprise when I do it. So I just prepare the right way. I always wanted to prepare and be mentally, focused, and because of that, I've been able to get some pretty decent batters out.
Do you have any hobbies that are not related to baseball that you enjoy?
Oh, I have a ton. I'm very musically inclined. I play the piano, and I picked up the guitar about a year ago. Some things that I just kind of stay in tune with. Music's pretty big in, I'd say, my life story in general. Just as far as finding motivation, finding something that it gets me in flow. Just like being able to hear music. And I'd say probably my best outings on the mound, I probably was like singing a song in my head, because it just takes me away from, it gets me on time. If I'm, with music, you have to have rhythm. Pitching is all about rhythm. I mean, it goes hand in hand. If I'm able to like kind of stay in tune with that song in my head, I can repeat that delivery all the time. So I think that's why it's always been, I think an article was written about me in the Scranton Times about that as well, about how, I try to find a song and I try to like kind of move to that song in my head to find a consistent delivery.
Oh, wow.
Really
Yeah,
cool.
that's awesome. Yeah. So before we let you go, can you talk about, I don't know if you're paying close attention to Alek Manoah right now. He had to begin his career. He had a great start to his career, but now I don't know what's going on. He had the downfall, and now he's in the minors, and he gave up 11 runs yesterday, I think. Can you talk about like what advice would you give like to the type of player where they had start off the their career strong, but all of a sudden took a downfall, and now he has to try to bring it back up.
I mean, I could attest to that as well.
Yeah.
Having a great first year with Scranton, and then coming back and not having a good year my second year. Baseball is such a humbling sport. It's probably one of the most humbling sports you'll ever play, because you have to stay at that high level to achieve success. It's if I were to talk to him, I would try to get him away from thinking about baseball, because when I thought about baseball, that's probably when I played the worst.
Mhm.
When I thought about competing and having fun, it's probably when you play the best.
Yeah.
And just for him, just finding what's fun in the game and what makes you compete, I think that's going to be a big thing for him. Not trying to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes and fall as you go, but you know, I tell a lot of kids I lesson and stuff as well. Like, baseball will humble you. It's all about how you respond. That's it.
Yep.
If you can respond to baseball the right way, life will be a lot easier. Because baseball can be one of the most daunting things as far as, finding that consistent success. So I would say get him away from baseball, first of all. Take him to the beach and have some fun, and then find out what fun feels like again, and find that on the baseball field. That is what's going to drive him to success again.
So, Jeremy, you have anything else before we go?
Nah, that's it.
Well, Reggie, tell our fans where they can find you on social media.
Social media. I am as you guys can see, I'm not the biggest social media guy, but if you guys reach out to me, I will see it. I do not have like a huge following there or anything, but you guys can see me I'm looking it up right now because I don't remember.
Sure.
It is Reggie McClain 39. And you guys can follow me there. I started a couple of things on my own as far as trying to figure out a business that I could start, trying to get into youth baseball and youth athletics as a whole. So just trying to figure out that path. That's something I'm passionate about. And giving lessons. If you guys are in the Atlanta area, you can always reach out to me for lessons. I will start to give those again once the summer ends.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you, Reggie McClain, for joining our show today. It's truly an honor and great story. And I hope you get another opportunity in the major league when you decide to come back and play. But good luck with the rest of your success, and we'll stay connected and keep up the great work, man. And like I said, thank you for joining.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.